That recording was in progress.
Well, that was AI.
Oh, AI recording in progress, but we need El Slavo recording in progress too, I guess.
El Slavo is now recording. All right, you want to kick us off? I think it's your turn because it's today.
But hey, everybody knows that today it's my turn. And on that note, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, and welcome to the Blurring the Lines podcast. I am your host, Peter Nikolaidis, and as always, joining me, my co-host, Adam Bell. Hello,
Hey,
Adam.
hey, Peter, how you doing today?
Hanging in there.
Both of us are having a tea day,
We
brewed
are. We
tea.
we are. Yep. I'm doing just a black English breakfast. What are you doing?
Exactly the same. What brand?
This is Wegmans brand, Wegmans store brand
Yeah, I'm doing
tea.
Lipton's, so it's just as generic.
I think mine's a little better. You might want to, maybe I'll ship you an envelope of a few packets.
Oh,
I
I
have
thought
had
Weg
plenty of Lipton. Yeah.
I thought Wegmans was just a regular grocery.
It is, but their store brands have never failed to either impress or at very least satisfy me.
Ah, cool.
In general, when I'm there in the store, if I see Wegmans has certain product, I will almost always buy that one. There are
Oh,
very few times when I go for something else. So no, I've been very happy with their store brand stuff.
I guess I'll have to consider that next time I'm in a town with Wegmans. I'm like, let's
I
get
was
their
going to say
stuff.
next time you're in the Northeast. So,
So it's actually Twinings. It's not Lipton, but
Twinings is good. That's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. Yeah, that's on par. I'd say that's closer on par with Wegmans.
mhm.
No, but seriously, I was gonna say if you like Lipton, I have been toting a couple of boxes around in my car for the last couple of months. I keep on meaning to donate them to the local food shelf, and I
Mhm.
just keep forgetting. I did once. I was able to shove three boxes into a local mini. We have those like little libraries. We have little
Mhm.
food shelves in Medford,
Oh, that's
and I
cool.
was able to shove a couple, but I couldn't fit all the rest of them in there. So have a couple big boxes because my dad used to buy the big giant boxes down at BJ's or Costco.
Mhm. So
So I
if
still
you
have
need
some.
food, you just go and get it. That's
Well,
the
it's all at the
idea.
place. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
Hmm.
just it's sitting out there on the street. You need a
Hmm.
book, you go to the little library. You need some food, you go and grab it there. So there you go.
Cool.
Yep. So
Well,
did my good deed for the day.
speaking of stores that I didn't know of, have you ever been to a Maynard's?
I don't believe I have.
Well, I know they're in Kentucky in that area. We could not find a particular bathroom wall paneling with the pattern that we wanted, but Maynard's did. They had it, so they have one in Bowling Green or Paducah and Elizabethtown, and we went there. And it is like a Home Depot or Lowe's. You have those, right?
Yes.
So it's like a Home Depot or Lowe's, clean it up, like make the floors clean, the walls clean, take away all the it is a warehouse, but it's more like a clean Costco warehouse with a Hobby Lobby in it and a grocery in it and a automotive department in it and a Home Depot in it.
Is that like Texas has a chain? Hold on, let me see. My friend took me to HEB
I've never
in
heard of that,
Texas.
but yeah, maybe so.
It
Well,
reminds me of HEB.
mhm. And they have this pretty cool thing is they have a rebate. Everything is on rebate. So if you buy, so there's a stick to it, but it's you know
Stick.
a stick. So you go
They
in,
stick it to you.
yeah, you buy $400 or whatever. I mean, I don't know how many times you've gone into a home store where you've had a need that you've walked out of there with less than $200 or $300, lighter. Um,
Oh no, the way it works, so when I walk into a home like a Home Depot, I walk in and then I'll be back within 2 hours, and I'll certainly be back again within 2 days. That's the
yeah.
way it works for me. So I walk out $50 lighter. come back another $50 later. A couple days later, come back another $100 later.
Yeah.
So that's how that's yeah.
That's your pattern. So you go in, let's say you spent $400 and they give you 11% discount on that, a rebate, 11%
Okay.
rebate. So you pay the
Okay.
$400. But within 6 weeks, you will get, and of course you have to go on either online and register the rebate and register the receipt. And once you do that, within 6 weeks, you will get a gift card from them for the amount of the rebate. And the
Interesting.
gift card never expires. I mean, you have to spend it with them, but it never
Right.
expires. So it's
Yep.
kind of an interesting, program to keep your people coming back with discounts, but you're tying them in tight.
Yep. Yeah, well, you keep them in with rebates. I mean, yeah, that's that'll do it. And I don't like that. Rebates are just
No, I don't.
you never
I don't like.
know, are you really gonna get it? Like I that reminds me, I filled out a rebate for my I installed a new EV charger for my
Mhm.
car. I got rid of the old Tesla one because lo and behold, it was, hard coded to not work so well with non-Tesla cars.
Ah,
So I put in a new one and I submitted my application and it was rejected. So I resubmitted it with the supporting application, supporting docs. And then someone called me to verify it, verified all the information. And that was, I don't know, 2 months ago. And I still haven't got my check. So,
yeah, yeah. I don't like the idea of rebates. I mean, but yeah, it's kind of like Publix. Publix think, you have your Kroger card that you got to have in order to get the Kroger discount, but at Publix, they just give
yep.
you the discount.
So couldn't they just so the way they're making their money on rebates is, number one, you have to ask for it,
Hmm.
right? Now, do you do that automatically? You have to ask for it, or do they give it to you automatically?
It's on your receipt and you have to ask for it. You
That's
have to at
it. So
least
that's how you
register it.
make your own. Two ways you make your money then. They're collecting interest on the money that they haven't given you.
Hmm.
And number two, you have to ask for it. And there are times when people will not do it. That number is greater than zero.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I bought
yeah.
300 and some odd dollars worth of construction material that I had to have. I'm never going back there. So I did not register for a rebate.
Yep. Yep. So there you go. Rebates. In other news, how people are screwing us over today.
Oh, it's all,
So yeah,
yeah, like I said, it's a shtick. Yeah, whatever their thing is, make them sticky. So,
wonderful.
it's funny.
Hey,
I texted you and kicked out topics, and you kicked out a couple topics, and one of your topics was running updates. So, in my mind, I read that you would be away from your computer for a little bit because you were running updates on it.
be with you in a bit. I'm running updates.
Yeah. And then I was like,
Well,
oh, I bet he's talking about his actual running. So,
I
what's the running
am talking
update?
about the running up. The update is I'm running again. That's
Yeah.
that's the update. Yes. So I started on Sunday.
Hmm.
And I was just shy. I was 5 weeks, 5 days post surgery. I figured that was close enough to 6.
Yeah.
And so I started running. I did a 5K run walk,
Hmm.
and it was like 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. Felt fine, no pain.
Yeah.
I did it again a couple days later. Again, no pain. So, and I'll be running. I was going to do it yesterday, but the weather was horrible. It's cold. It was a little snowy and rainy.
Mm.
And I just couldn't quite. I could muster, I can run in that properly dressed and, psyched up for a run, but not a run walk because it's
Hmm.
hard to balance between I'm getting hot enough while running and I'm freezing while walking,
Hmm.
alternately bring a heavier jacket, and I'm warm while running and sweating while, like too much while running. So I was like, I'll wait. So
Hmm.
I'm going to go right after this. But there was the reason I asked to bump us up in hours because the weather's supposed to be best. It's supposed to be warmest today in about 25 minutes. So there you
Cool.
go. So
Yeah.
listener, you don't have to listen to us much more than maybe 25 more minutes.
You're gonna be off the hook.
Oh, gone.
Oh, cool. Well, I guess are you gonna, do you have anything long-term plan, or right now you're just gonna see how it goes?
Girlfriend just asked last night if I want to do a half marathon with her in June.
Mm-hmm.
I think I should be good for that. I think by
Okay.
June I should be ready to rock. So
Northeastern run? I mean, in the Northeast where you are?
yeah,
Okay.
somewhere up here around here. Probably I don't even know off the top of my head. I asked her, I was like, "Can you tell me where it is and stuff?" So, but half marathon plan. I have one right here. It's a 12-week plan.
Mm-hmm.
So that's April, May. Cuts it a little close, actually.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking like 8 weeks away to the end of June.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the first 4 weeks are like, the long run is only 5 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the week, it's like, 3.5 mile, 2 mile run or cross training, 3.5 mile run, 40 minutes cross training, 5 mile run. So if I started that next week,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably be okay. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I just, if you were I'm gonna be in South Alabama in June. I'm like, oof, that's
Oof.
gonna be hot.
Yeah, that could be kind of nasty. So, but yeah, half marathon plans tend to be 12 weekers. So,
Okay,
if I get moving, I can get into fighting shape by then. So,
cool. I'm trying to get myself back into fighting shape. We did lots of traveling, and it's tough to stay in. It's tough to be disciplined on vacation, and then diet is tougher just to accommodate. Just you don't have control over the grocery,
yep. Yep.
so I don't know.
I haven't even been on vacation, right? I was just not running and stuff.
Hmm.
I've definitely I haven't like I think I've maybe only put on like an extra pound or so, but
Hmm.
stuff has moved. There is a it's only a small donut, but there's a spare tire here.
Yeah,
So,
it's moved from the pecs to the abs.
pretty much it's like a superhero movie, like he's posted up and then it goes drops down to the gut. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm feeling right now. So,
Yeah, so
but
I'm
hey,
trying.
I'm running, so there you go.
Cool. So I'm
So,
trying to
but
get there.
speaking of getting into shape, I hear you have to go to boot camp or something.
Gotta go to boot camp. So, I thought you might want to take a look at that. I mean, there, uh, there's lots of things, it's Robin Robin's whole big boot camp producers
Yep.
club. And, there's, lots of marketing things about, and some of the boot camps I've gone to, I've just been like, same old, same old. I mean, I've been doing it since 2016. So I'm
Hmm.
approaching well, 2014 was my first boot camp. So done this 10 times, pretty excited
Hmm.
about the first few. Then you're like, oh, then you kind of settle in, then you're like, oh, I've seen this. So, so this year's boot camp, I'm kind of excited about just, there's some new things. There's some new vendors to talk to, because that's really big for me, is the vendors,
Yep.
getting to talk to them. I don't know, web text and writing sometimes just means nothing. Once they start talking on their website, you're like, what do you sell? Well, this is what we sell in the cybersecurity space. And like, oh, I don't really see much in the difference in your words versus their words. And, actually getting to talk to them, ask questions. That's what I like, getting to.
Yep.
And I could book a time with them. I could call one of these people and book a time and sales calls. And who has time for that?
Well, I talk with a lot, but I'm learning. It's I'm still shedding away some mild layers of naivete over the years.
Hmm.
I'm learning
Stay
that
innocent,
that
Peter. Stay
it's
golden, pony
hard
boy.
though. It's hard because I have recently learned that sometimes salespeople just outright lie.
Say it ain't so.
I wish I could. But it's different when you're working with like, someone that and like
Hmm.
it's just like, wait, no, your solution doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. It just doesn't. You don't. I've talked with the engineers. It doesn't do that. Oh no, no, we can do that. Like maybe you honestly think you can, but you can't.
You
So,
think you can do these things, Nemo?
oh man. So it's that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like listening to salespeople, that's one thing. And then, like we were having a discussion beforehand about like, bookkeeping systems and stuff. And there's friction in moving to a new system, even
Mm-hmm.
if there's a projected savings cost. And I'm sure we've talked about this on the podcast before, but even if there's a projected savings of moving to a new platform, you have to account for the cost of the move.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it was Jim Routh, was I think I remember he was from Aetna, I think. He was a CISO. I remember hearing a great interview with him a few years ago. And his way of doing it was like he would talk to a new vendor, but he would say, okay, we can do this, but you need, this is what I'm paying right now for
Mm-hmm.
your competitor's product. You need to come in and have us completely onboarded with your solution for less than that.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, like you want the business, that's great. You can get it, but this is what it's going to cost. And you need to assure, like you're not getting paid until you've completed this migration and you're doing it all as part of that scope of work. And I was like, that's brilliant. I love it. So, oh man.
Yeah, that's a tough one though. I mean, and of course we're not talking. My deals are not that big. I mean, so
Right.
there's deals and then there's big deals like that.
Big
Because
deals.
somebody told me that, well, you're gonna have to match their prices, and I'm like, well, my price is my price, and this is what I've got to have. I've already figured out how much I have to have, and this is it. I mean, I didn't build
Right.
in stuff so I could just discount it. you know, but that's just me. I ought to do
That's
that
just
though.
me. Yeah.
Whatever my price is now, add 50%, and then if they want to dicker, we can.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not an uncommon practice. Figure out how much it's going to cost, double that price, give it in, and then we can negotiate. So, yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go. All right.
Well,
What else we
cool.
got? What's next?
So boot camp is next week. We talked about that. So the Baltimore book the ship crash. I'm surprised you didn't hear about that. You didn't the cargo container that hit the bridge in
And
Baltimore.
so right now, unless it's cybersecurity related, my news comes via my girlfriend. And let's just say that she's selective
Yeah.
in the titles. So if it's
Uh,
about recent political trials or
Oh,
recent trials around a certain political candidate, I get all the latest.
yeah.
Um, Other than that, it's kind of spotty.
hmm
I
So
heard
they,
what? No, wait, did that ship? Did it hit a bridge? Is that what happened?
yeah, it hit a bridge. The
Okay. A couple of
Francis
my
got,
colleagues were, yeah,
yeah.
a couple of colleagues were talking about it while I was on a call the other day, but I didn't get details.
Well, it was interesting. The so they start off. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like 1:26. Of course, they're still digging through the details of it, of exactly what happened, because got to lay blame. I mean, so that's what happening. But the ship lost power. The lights went out. Uh, the two pilots, because in shore or in ports like that, the captain doesn't take it in and out of port. A hired pilot who knows the port are the ones that take big ships in and out. Cruise ships,
Yep.
cargo ships,
Yep.
every big ship, it's done by a local. And
I've heard this before, I think. It sounds very familiar.
uh, so there are two pilots that take it out, and the power went out, and they started calling Mayday. And then they lost power, and then they lost steering, and it just kind of went out, and then within 4 minutes, 4 minutes is an eternity when you're in a boat that's moving out of control, but 4 minutes is really fast.
Yep.
Yeah, and they hit this bridge, and so it's a cantilevered steel bridge. So it's got the rails over the top that are more or less the thing holds itself together by weight. And when it hit that piling, it disintegrated. The whole bridge just went, I imagine in my mind, if you said, "Hey Adam, look at the bridge and hit one part of it and tell me what you think would happen." And I'd say, probably at the piling it'd break and then it'd fall over, and then at some point, the other piling, would be tented up, or, and maybe eventually pull it down. Or but
Hmm.
no, it went boom, boom, and the whole thing just collapsed and catastrophic failure. But that's kind of the design flaw, I guess. I mean, a physics flaw.
Is a flaw
But
in phys? Hey God, can we work on this? We got a flaw in the way physics works.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a known choice, the type of bridge you build. And if you build a cantilever bridge, you know that it's the tension on there. But I think it's also has to do with structural strength and cost of materials and everything else like that. But you know, I, I don't know, I was expecting right away for them to everybody to start blaming. And yeah, there will be, because the pilots may not have been at blame because the power went out, and the power went out because some mechanic didn't do this. Oh, well, the mechanic did everything that they were supposed to do. Well, it was the materials manufacturer then. Well, the materials manufacturer did what they did. It just goes downhill. Of they'll find somebody to blame. There's got to be blame. I mean, you
Of
know, un
course. It's
unfortunately, 6 people did die. um,
yeah.
and that the you know the silver lining, not that anybody died, but if this had happened during rush hour, a whole lot of people would have died. I mean,
Yeah.
which would have been a
Yeah.
greater tragedy. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
but
it's kind of morbid, but now I want to go see the video of this.
oh yeah, it's. I mean, I saw it first thing it happened. I mean, it just came across the feed, and one of my good friends, he works at TDOT, and that's Tennessee Department of Transportation, and one of TDOT's responsibility are the bridges in Tennessee.
Yep.
So he's very tied into bridge health and inspections. And if a bridge isn't up to standards, then they condemn it. And you're looking at a bridge, you're like, what the heck's wrong with this bridge? It looks just fine.
Yep.
But you can't drive over it. So
Exactly. Well, speaking of destruction of things, I
hmm.
saw Godzilla X Kong yesterday.
Oh yeah,
It was fun.
it was fun.
And I don't know, have you seen any of this? Because I know
No,
Scott and I
no.
talk about the movies. Yeah, so I never really was a huge Godzilla or King Kong fan, but there's a little bit of nostalgia. So
Oh, yeah.
I caught up and watched all the MonsterVerse movies, all the new King Kong and all the new Godzilla movies
Hmm.
over the last several months. This was one of the better ones.
Really?
Some of them are a little, yeah, yeah. I'd say the lowest points were, some of the campy sci-fi, stuff that the humans have. It's a little weird.
Hmm.
There's so much hand wavy, like, oh, the earth is hollow and here gravity works upward and then it flips and it's upside down and there's a portal here and there. And you have to just kind of like imagine that it's like you're an 8-year-old or maybe a 10-year-old
Hmm.
playing with a little Godzilla and a Kong and like, oh, that's how he met. He just vanishes and goes through portals and whatever. So you suspend that aspect of disbelief, which,
Hmm.
given that it's a Godzilla movie, not that hard to
Hmm.
do. And then put away a little some of the campy science-y stuff. The drama around the humans, which is always the weakest part of these
Hmm.
movies, was actually tolerable this time, almost
All right.
palatable. And the fight scenes were a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
So, yes. So it was good. Kong has definitely been training. He looks like he's been going to Krav Maga 2 or 3 times a week. Uh, so and Godzilla's learned some new tricks too.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was fun. I could see this one being the last one in the series. They brought back another monster from a previous movie,
Mm-hmm.
which hadn't been there for a while, and I was very tickled to see that one.
Mm-hmm.
And no spoilers.
Yeah.
But
No.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. So I enjoyed it. I saw it in IMAX,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my AirPods in with the noise suppression.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience because it was like the shaky chairs
Mm-hmm.
version, and nothing quite like seeing, like a 50-foot tall Godzilla smashing and then feeling the chairs shake when he washes through, smashes right through a bridge or a building or something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I always thought it's funny, in the old monster, from the
Man in
60s
a
and
rubber
things.
suit.
Yeah. Well, Mothra, you know,
Yep.
a a a monster that the moth you can't even touch because the oil in your fingers will destroy its
Make it
wings.
poof.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like
But it is
the
now on par with Godzilla.
yeah, a
Yes.
gigantic hard-scaled lizard with huge teeth.
Yep. Yep. They promoted Mothra. Man, she got an upgrade, all right. So, so anyway, it
Oh.
was fun. I had it. I definitely I liked it. I'm looking forward to seeing it again when it comes out on, on streaming and stuff.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh, cool.
um,
So,
all right. What else we got? What's next?
so this is kind of, well, I guess it's kind of funny. It's funny now. It wasn't really that terrible. Kayaks. So you have a
Kayaks.
kayak. You've
I do.
don't have you ever flipped over your kayak?
I have not.
Never?
Never.
I wonder if you have a better kayak than me or just a better, maybe my upper, I do have a long torso and I'm thinking maybe I'm, weeble wobble up the top, heavier up top than the bottom, but I don't know. I got pretty hefty legs too. So I don't know.
So one thing about my kayak, so it is a Drift Sun 220 inflatable kayak,
Mm-hmm.
and it is wider than most, like the plastic or what's the fiberglass, kayaks that you see.
Yeah.
So it's almost halfway between a traditional kayak and a rigid inflatable boat, like a little
Mm-hmm.
dinghy. It's kind of like that. So that helps for sure.
Mm.
It's way wider,
Yeah, and I would like my rear end to be water level. Like the way the plastic in the seat is. So
Yep.
the kayak that I was on was the kayak, and then there was like, a little mini chair sitting on that. So I'm sitting up, maybe 3 inches above the plastic. So my center of gravity is higher. And if I have a higher torso, then I have an even higher center of gravity, and
Even higher center of gravity.
it's
Yes.
above the water line, rather than at the water line, which is what I think it should be for me. So, but anyway, so I'm fishing in a canal in Belize, saltwater canal. There are bull sharks in the canal. There are alligators in the canal. There are,
Bull shark.
yeah, there, so there are fish in the canal as well. So I'm in the canal. I'm like, it's late. It's too late to take the boat out. I want to get in the canal. I'm not all that hot at kayaking. I know this. I mean, but I'm like, I'm just going to take it slow and be intentional and not flip it over because it wasn't my first time to be in a kayak and know that I sometimes flip out. So I'm in the
Flip
water.
out. Ah!
I'm in the water and I'm in the canal and I'm not far away. And so I start catching fish. I mean, I'm catching snappers, I'm catching barracuda, and I'm having a pretty good time. And then I cast my line, I get it stuck in a tree. Well, it's at the water line. So I, kayak my way over there and I'm pulling on the line and trying to and whoop, I flip over.
Whoomp.
Yeah. I mean, it was that fast too. I mean, I was like doing, and there was just like there wasn't like a teeter or whatever. It was just like woof.
Whoop.
Yeah, I'm
Whoop.
over. And then I had partially prepared. I had my Yeti backpack on, so or in the thing, so my bag's floating, all my gear's floating. I shove everything up there, back into the kayak. I take my sunglasses off, which I've got my stupid Ray-Bans on, which are $120 sunglasses, and I lost one of my rods. So I was going to get one rod, but I had my second rod, I lost it. And then I was like, okay, I threw all that stuff in there, and I took my sunglasses off because I wanted to try to find my rod. Couldn't find my rod. So I decided I'm going to get back in the kayak. What do? Flip the stupid kayak back over trying to get in it. You know, this time I lose my sunglasses, and then
Oh.
so that I decide, all right, and at this time, before I flipped it over the second time, a boat was going by the canal. They're like, "Oh, I guess you're the comic relief for the night." I'm like, "Yeah, it's one of those nights."
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't mad, or I mean, I wasn't upset about it, but I was scrambling trying to think, look at all the gear around me, make sure I got all my gear back in the boat. And if I'd been thinking, I wouldn't have taken my sunglasses off. But I knew I had to get back in the kayak, and I didn't want to crush my glasses trying to get myself in there. But I also
Yep.
didn't consider that I might flip the kayak over again trying to get in it. And so then I lost my
Yep.
sunglasses trying to get in it, and I got mad. I mean, I didn't get mad. I was like exasperated. So I took all my stuff off and I put it up on the shore, and I pulled the kayak out, and the kayak's not too heavy that I couldn't carry it by myself, but I didn't want to because it was heavy enough back. I was like, I'm not going to do the walk of shame with the kayak. I mean, it's like 100 yards of water. I have to get back on this kayak and ride it back in. So I did. I used the shore and got myself back on. And I didn't do the kayak walk of shame, but it was pretty sad.
But you
Yeah.
were all wet, and that's what's important.
Yeah. Everything I was wet. And I told Elizabeth, I said, "Well, if you're wondering how salty that canal water is, it's pretty salty."
It's pretty salty. Good to know.
Yeah. I swallowed a good old mouthful of it. Just boop.
Bloop.
It's like it's funny though.
Gross.
I don't really I don't really consider myself a strong swimmer. Like
Hmm.
if I can't swim. I mean, I can swim freestyle. It's
Yep.
functional. It's not an efficient, a swimmer would outpace me, but because I do scuba diving and snorkeling and all kinds of other water sports, I don't even consider swimming as, I flipped over. The next thing I know, I'm swimming, sorting out my gear. It's kind of cool that, when you're comfortable in the water, your body just does it. You know, I'm not thinking about
Hmm.
kick my feet, flop my arm. I mean, it's like, nope, I'm all right. Let's get all this stuff. Yeah, just kind of cool. But like I said, I don't consider myself to be a strong swimmer, but apparently I can
No,
save my life. I mean, as long as I'm
it's
not hitting my
strong
head.
enough.
Yeah.
Strong enough to get it done, right?
So anyway,
Oh man.
so
So you mentioned you lost your sunglasses.
hmm
Well, how are you gonna get them replaced?
yes, I am. So those were Ray-Bans, and they are, I forget which kind they are. I can look them up here in a second. But the thing is, they're I went online to buy the exact same pair that I bought before, and I paid $129 for the previous pair because they weren't that old. I mean, I don't think I had had them a year, but I get the same kind, and they are black with a gray lens, and they're polarized too for fishing. And so it was 200 and like $231 for that same pair of glasses. I'm like, are you kidding me? And then I went to the different kind that was green lenses, and they were $129. I'm like, guess I'm getting green this time.
So, if I understand it correctly, like what Ray-Ban, Oakley, Lens Crafters, Luxottica, aren't they all Luxottica at this point?
Probably, I don't know.
I think, like a lot of these companies are all the same company. And I think it's interesting that this, you get vision insurance, which
Mm-hmm.
is really just a vision racket, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, we'll save you $300 on a new pair of frames and lenses, which cost you $900.
Yeah.
And because the last time I went to a lens crafter store to figure out what I wanted for, for glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And my goodness, they were expensive. They
Yeah.
were like horrifically expensive. Because the reason I did that was I didn't want to I didn't want to pay, I looked at the benefit out of network, like going to Warby Parker and buying a pair of glasses there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, you only get like $75 off if you do that. But it's $75 off 300 or $400. That's a lot better than $300 off $900. So I've been going back to Warby Parker, and as it happened, last time I was up in Vermont, I thought I had left my set of progressives up there, and I was like, I can't. Oh no, what happened? What'd you find?
I just looked up my glasses, and so I bought the same kind. I did not even look at this. So I get the RB 2027 Predator 2 rectangular sunglasses.
Put a link in the
The
show notes.
and it is non-polarized lenses with a classic G15 tint for glare reduction. I guess they're going back.
Dope.
Don't.
Well, what I was gonna say, so I ended up, I lost, yeah, thought I had left my glasses up in Vermont. I couldn't find them anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, well, I'm in, it's a new year. I'm allowed one pair of, glasses and frames per year, and
Mm-hmm.
at the discount. And you know what? I guess I should have a spare.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have my reading my computer glasses, which I'm wearing now, and they work fine for, up close and personal. And I have two pairs for vision, but the vision, the distance vision ones, they're strong enough that like I can't look at anything up close with them.
Mm-hmm.
They're too strong. So I was like, all right, well, I got to get rid of these guys. So, but I want to have at least one backup. So I was like, all right, I'll go back to Warby Parker. And I knew last year I had bought the frame called Bromley.
Mm-hmm.
And so last year I went there and I was like, do I do a trade in? And like, well, the way it works is if you get the same ones, you get to keep the old pair, but we just take $60 off your next one. I was like, fine, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, okay, we don't make those anymore. Like, son of a. So so I bought a different pair last year. So now I'm looking again and I see a couple different ones. Like, all right, I figured out, it's these, but the store is only like 3 miles away. So I'll just go over there and see them in person, make sure I like these and place my order. I
Mm-hmm.
look and I'm like, yep, I want one of these. And sitting right next to it on the shelf, Bromley. I was like, never mind. I'll take those. And how does this work? And they're like, yeah, we'll give you $60 off credit. Great. Take it away. So I should have a new pair next week and I'll have a backup pair of glasses. So I'm happy about that. So
Cool. So I
it sounds like
went,
you could use a backup pair too.
yeah. Well, I actually have my old lenses, which are my backup pair. But okay, so they are on sale from Ray-Ban's website directly, and it's $50 off if you buy it from their website. So I can get it directly from them for $160, which is still $40 more than I paid for them last time, but they're polarized. So because the green ones are gonna have to go back because I have to have the polarized for the fishing. That's the
Yep.
whole point.
Got it. Yep. Polarizing, kind of like a political figure. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I mentioned a while ago, so we're both drinking tea right now, and I've been drinking more tea lately because last Friday was it? I think it was last week. 2 weeks ago, Friday, I was up in Vermont, and I do some grocery shopping up there,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to keep the fridge full of things that are going to last for a while, or buy things that are not so perishable. And so I bought a few bags of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And so my girlfriend and I went up last Thursday night, and Friday we're working from there. Yeah, I was feeling a little run down and, dealing with cleaning out my parents' place. It's kind of rough, it can be emotional. Um, I've never been good at like moving or cleaning, moving large volumes of things.
Mm-hmm.
Just moving is draining for me. It's mentally more draining than it is physically.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's just an insane volume of things that we're moving.
Mm-hmm.
And, I ended up like I pulled my back a little bit because I was, despite like having contractor bags and, saying like, we're not going to load this up more than halfway, still get it halfway full. And it's like, 100 pounds and and moving them down a set of stairs that's effectively a ladder,
Yeah.
so I was doing a lot of heavy lifting and my back was not happy with me and I had a headache and I was grumpy and the
Mm-hmm.
next day I had a headache and my girlfriend was like genuinely getting concerned, she's trying to figure out what's going on. Monday morning comes around and I go to make myself a cup of coffee and I look carefully and the label on the bag says decaf.
Decaf.
Oh my God. I'm looking, I was like, what? Ah. So I voluntarily but unconsciously converted myself over to decaf.
Ah, so you're gonna stick
And
it.
yeah, well, so I just stuck with it. So but what I'm doing is like I still have tons of, regular coffee too. So what I did was I have been doing like one of my cups per day, I would do like half calf or so.
Mm-hmm.
But what I ended up doing yesterday is I took and I did a two-thirds mix of two-thirds decaf, one-third regular, and
Mm-hmm.
just shook the beans up, to get a fairly even distribution.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had 2 cups of those today, which is about,
Mm-hmm.
two-thirds of a cup of regular.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling fine. The first few days were a little rough. The third or the fourth day after I realized what was going on, that Monday morning,
Mm-hmm.
that was like I was just like, I'm tired. I don't want to do anything. I took a nap in the afternoon, and
Are you
so,
are you
but
struggling with depression? Yeah. Yeah.
I was struggling with
It's
depression, low energy, irritability, pain. So, oh
uh,
man, so that was awesome. So,
uh,
oh boy.
I think that I need to reduce my caffeine. But I'm, sorting. I figure that's gonna be my last vice to square away.
I would recommend that you don't just go cold turkey unless you have a really good reason.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
my recommendation. Yep. Mhm. Yep.
So, well, cool. Let's see, how much time do you have left?
We got a few more minutes, and I think you have a nifty for us.
I do have a nifty. And
What's your
it's
nifty?
my nifty is Google's confidential mode for sending secure messages, not a secure email, which doesn't exist. And so
Okay. Mhm.
so I use
It
a
can be done. So,
oh yeah, it can be done. If you and I share certificates, we can then send messages back and forth via email securely.
mhm.
It's so much hassle that it's not worth it. So I typically use a third party service for secure messaging. So it's not
Yep.
email, people don't get confused. But so this is not completely new, but we've never talked about it. But Google Secure Messaging has a confidentiality mode. So if I want to send you an email, and I don't
hmm
know if Google Free has it, or if it's only a Google Workspace because I'm doing the enterprise workspace with it. So I type a message, Peter, here, I just send it to your email address, whatever your email is, and I say, Peter, here's your super secret password. Don't share it with anybody else. And then I
Where
click
is
the,
my super suit?
where's my super suit? And you click the confidentiality mode, and then when it'll ask me how long do I want to allow this message to be valid, and I'll say a
Yep.
week or depending on what it is, and it'll be
Yep.
valid for a week, and then I have the option of confirming with SMS. So if I just send you the secure message, you get a message from me, you get an email that says you have a secure message from Adam Bell. Click
Hmm.
here. And when you click the link, it actually takes you to, SSL secured version, message that is out
Yeah.
there. So it is secure to a degree, because
Okay.
if somebody in the world could get that link, then they could click it, you know,
Right.
and they could click that link. Um,
Yep.
but then you also add in the SMS if you turn the SMS on. So then, same scenario, you click the link. Now it sends you an SMS to the phone number that I've designated. So then on your phone, you get the code, you type in the code, then it takes you to that same secure link that now only you can get to. So it's
Right.
pretty good.
Two factor.
It's
Yep.
two factor. So it's, it, you can argue that it's not HIPAA compliant or, not, but you could also argue the other way too. I mean, if you and I were NSA, we wouldn't share messages that way. We would we would do it a different way. But if I wanted to send you a password that I didn't want shared with the world, I would feel okay with doing it that way.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't used it now. Is that available only to G Suite subscribers?
That was what I was wondering, and I thought you might be able to see that. But uh, when I do it, I start a new message, and then down there at the bottom, where you would insert photo, to the right of that is toggle confidentiality mode if you're doing webmail, and you may not have it as
Mhm.
a non G Suite.
Oh, I do have it. Yep, there it is. Yep, I thought I had heard about that. Yep,
Hmm.
confidential mode is there. It is there indeed. Yep, expiration in 1 week, etc. That makes me wonder too, because like for my personal email, I switched to Fastmail.
Hmm.
It's been just under a year ago, I guess. Maybe it has been a year. I don't remember if I've renewed. I think it was close to a year ago. Um, and it's generally got pretty good features and stuff. The spam filter, not as good as Gmail's,
Hmm.
and it doesn't have extra things like that, like in a built-in encryption mode and stuff like that. So
Hmm.
I'm missing some stuff. I'm thinking I might migrate myself over to Proton Mail,
Okay.
and just go the super secret secure route. But
Hmm.
I have to look and see, if they do, am I getting, other than, that they've got a good reputation for security, do they have any other features that I'd be getting? Because it's about the same price as Fastmail.
Hmm.
So, I'm kind of curious to see what they, if how they compare for a one person account.
Yeah.
So if it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to change from Google unless there is a significant security issue, a significant financial issue, or a significant business change.
Yep. I mean, for me, migrating from Google to Fastmail was really easy.
Hmm.
And it wasn't that hard. So I did that, and because of the theme that they have in place, like my dad couldn't even tell the difference between Gmail and Fastmail.
Oh,
It
really? Cool.
Yeah, it was that. I mean, he's not big on details anyway and stuff, but it was pretty easy just to, make that transition.
Hmm.
For me, the biggest hiccup is that I still use Google Calendar.
Ah.
And oh, look, I have my Proton. I'm trying to sign into my Proton Mail account. And it says, oh, this account is no longer available due to inactivity. Damn. I guess I thought that they would email me to my alternative address to let me know, but they probably emailed me to my Proton Mail address to let me know, which doesn't do me any good if I'm not using it at all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the good thing is I never used it for anything. I'm missing, I'm bummed I'm missing my good Proton Mail email address. So, oh well, I'll live.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well,
what are you
cool.
gonna do?
Yeah, we had a couple
All
things
right,
in
what
our
else we
list,
got?
but we talked about a topic of denial of service. I don't know if we want to put a pin in that.
Yeah, I think now's a decent time.
Okay.
So yeah, real quick. So a denial of service attack is anything that someone can do to cause an interruption in service.
Hmm.
There's lots of different types of these things, right? And one of them that's going around right now, I experienced at work days before the official announcement from Cisco yesterday.
Yeah.
And it may or may not be a new, as yet unknown botnet known as Brutus,
Okay.
with named for the brute force, right?
Hmm.
But this botnet and whoever was attacking my clients was is brute forcing what we noticed exposed Cisco AnyConnect devices. Now, Cisco
Okay.
AnyConnect is a VPN solution. So by definition, it has to be exposed to the internet to be able to provide VPN access, right?
Right.
Because the whole point of a VPN is a virtual private network over the public network, but you have to expose that. So it's vulnerable to attacks. And so we've had at least two, maybe three customers at this point getting hit by what could be the same actor.
Hmm.
And I was having trouble because people kept on calling it a DDoS, a distributed denial of service attack. And the reason is because it would come from an IP address, it would hit, and then after a while it would move and change and hit. And it's just doing a password spray attack where it's like, try this username, same username, different password, same username, different password, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
And then it'll move on to a different username and try, a bunch of different passwords on that. And with the built-in Cisco tools, Cisco, the world leader in network security, you can't
Hmm.
do jack about this because it's
Really?
garbage. So yeah, there, I said it. The
But
views
my Meraki has
expressed,
IDS. It has IDS built in.
yeah, can it stop this sort of thing?
I
The views
was
expressed on this
hoping.
podcast are those of Peter Nikolaidis only. Okay, not my employer or anything like that. Not no one else. Not my yoga studio. Not Adam. None of that. Um, but no, what we did is with the Cisco firepower devices is we had to do a custom pull against their authentication logs. So anytime they had repeated failed authentication, like 20 invalid attempts or something, that would generate an event log right to a plain text file served on an internal web server, which the firepower device will then go and pull. The problem is each of these things are happening on 5 minute intervals.
Uh,
So an attacker gets to come in, hammer on the thing for 5 minutes, and then maybe that triggers the event, but then the firepower device at its own 5 minute interval will go and check. So you essentially could have like 9 or 10 minutes of attack going on before it's noticed. And by then they've already locked out the target accounts that they've been trying to attack.
mhm.
And that's the problem. The denial of service in this case is you try, fail, account locked out.
Yeah.
And the attacker doesn't know that. They keep trying and trying and trying, but then there are people legitimately trying to connect to the VPN and do work and they can't log in because they've been locked out.
Right.
That's the denial of service in this case. And this is
Hmm.
not the same, though, even though it's coming from a different IP address, it's not the same as a distributed denial of service.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that everybody kept on saying, oh, well, they have DDoS protection. Why isn't that working? Because it's not a
Because
DDoS.
that's
That's
not what it
why.
is.
A DDoS, if in case you're wondering, dear customer, dear listener,
Dear
is
future customer.
dear future customer. Yeah, let me educate you on this. A DDoS is when you have numerous different systems all around, on the internet, all attacking a single system at the same time.
Hmm.
And, that's generally like a packet flood of some sort where they're sending so much traffic or they're sending, these like, hey, I'd like to talk to you. And then, the router receiving it says, okay, I'm ready to talk. And then you say nothing. But that router
Oh, it's
waits for a
timeout.
response,
Hmm.
right? It waits, is like, no, I can't talk. And it times out, or it causes a problem because a legitimate request comes in and the router's still busy waiting for the other one who said, "Hey, I've got something for you." It's like, "Yeah, I'm waiting." And then someone else comes, is like, "Please hold. I'm still waiting for a response over here." And it
Hmm.
floods the buffer with requests, which never, never go anywhere. And, so I had to repeatedly explain that this is not what we're defending against. We're defending against this, and finding out, after a day that Cisco just, doesn't have a built-in mitigation for that. It was really disappointing.
Well,
So,
those hackers are tricky.
yeah, yeah, there you go. Well, now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Knowing is half the battle. No, that is, I mean, it is interesting to find ways like that, you know, because, there's things that I do, I'll make an account lock out for 30 minutes. Like if your account gets locked out, like, okay, it's locked. It won't stay locked because in 30 minutes, I don't want it to be 2 a.m. and a user not be able to work. I tell them, hey, you get yourself locked out, you wait 30 minutes, and then you will be able to get in if you have the
Yep,
correct passwords.
yep,
Figuring out just ways. Okay, so that means, yeah. So then a hacker's like, oh, okay, then I just need to hack theirs on 30-minute intervals and then come back after another 30 minutes and it's wide open again. It's unlocked again. I'll keep trying.
yep. There
So,
you go. All
oh,
right.
very good.
There you go. So that was both a tip of the week and a nifty. I think we have I think we've covered everything.
Yes, sir. At least for the
I think we
day.
should
They
Yeah,
got
I think we should move on before we screw it up.
Yeah, everyone. Since you have gotten your money's worth today, we would like your feedback. If you'd like to discuss a particular topic, then you can drop us a line at www.blurringthelinespodcast.com. If you want to learn more about us, you can find Peter at yogawithpeter.com, friendswithbrews.com, Mastodon at Nikolaidis at infosec.exchange. You can find me sublimecomputerservices.com, rrlavenderfarm.com, or on X at sublimecomp.
Well, there you go. On X.
X. I'm tired of people saying
X.
X, formerly known as Twitter. Just say X.
I prefer we just say Twitter.
I don't know why we don't say Twitter.
A lot of people I'm talking to are still just talking and just saying Twitter.
Yep.
So there you go. So
So to all the twits, we can hit the big red button.
big red button.